Happy Friday, Hope TV family. Listen, we are the House of Hope Atlanta. Our pastor is Dr. E. Dewey Smith Jr., and we believe that life with God is better in every way, every day. Y'all know what time it is. It's time for Boss Up. And this month, we are celebrating the lady bosses. We are celebrating women who are major decision makers and change makers, not only in the business world, the marketplace, but also in our communities. And so tonight, I promise you, this episode will not disappoint you. You know what I need you to do? I need you to share this video on all of your social media platforms so that other entrepreneurs and professionals can enjoy the content that we're going to share tonight. And you know, I've got to take a moment to thank all of you for watching and for viewing us. Now we're moving into our first full year of content, and we are just so grateful that you've been tuning in. So let me introduce our guest for tonight. We have none other than Kanisha McSwain. She is professionally known as Key. She's a transplant to Georgia from Bloomington, Illinois, and a Spelman graduate. She joined GTR, listen to this, way back in 2005. So I met her a year after I joined in 2004. She started an entertainment company in 2010 that focused mainly on pop culture and the social media trend. Recently, she's launched a Know Your Saints, which is a brand of jewelry and apparel in honor of your saints and soulmates. Join me in welcoming for the very first time, but definitely not the last, Key. Join me in welcoming her now. And Key, say hello to everybody.
Hey sis, hello everyone out there in the Boss Up community. I am so honored, so thankful for the invitation to be here with you tonight. You know I love you, Pastor Connor, so anytime I can hang out with you is a good time.
Listen, it's so genuine and it's so mutual. We go way back,
Yeah,
even to a time when I was learning my singing gift. I was in a group with you. You remember that?
yes, yes, the experience. Shout out to the experience.
Yes. Shout out to the. So it's just really an honor to have you on tonight. And I want to start just by jumping in and talking about your brand because you have a very dynamic brand. Tell us exactly what you do, and if you can, describe to us your niche.
Okay. So I'm definitely one of those people who I'm pretty sure, considering the topic of this show, that there are many people out there who are in my shoes. I'm one of those people who God has sort of given a lot of different fun, creative identities to. Born and raised in the church, pastor's daughter, pastor's granddaughter. Singing, music is definitely a part of my family makeup and our genes. So we kind of were born into singing, writing songs, collaborating in that way. So I kind of started initially with an entertainment based company that, for one, was positive. What I did was I was doing a lot of research surrounding blogging because people kept telling me, oh, you should blog, you should blog. And I found that I wasn't really comfortable reading a lot of the content that was out there because it wasn't positive. It was like negative. It was gossipy in a way. And so my initial platform was built and birthed out of just that need for entertainment news, but the desire for it to be in a positive way. So that was the initial platform that was built. Naturally, that was 2010. So much has happened since then. God really blessed for me to sort of move into the social media realm, and now even into the e-commerce entrepreneurial realm with Know Your Saints. But what I like to tell people is ultimately, at the end of the day, I am a positive news and entertainment source. So Know Your Saints is an extension of Keiki Enterprises, and it really is for us to honor those people in our lives, our saints, our soulmates who give back to us in some positive way. So I guess at the end of the day, I'm an all around creative person. I still have the podcast, still highlighting musicians and artistry in that way, and still running Know Your Saints. But both of those things still come back to being purpose for positivity and purpose for sharing and shining a light on those people that matter the most to us.
You're such an inspirational person. In one of our off camera conversations, you talked about being a consummate creative. And
Yeah.
so, me being a preacher, people would think that preachers are not creatives, but some of us are. And so
Yeah.
I would like for you to talk to our Boss Up audience about what you do when you're a consummate creative and you need to focus. How do
Oh,
you focus? You have so many different gifts. Talk to us about that.
that is a great question, Pastor Jen. I think that the one thing that you can do in your life is learn how to organize. And that's not just with being a creative, that is just with life in general. I know so many people out there can understand that that's an important piece of your life. When you're a creative person and you're in creative space, sometimes it's hard to sort of get that like organization going on, that structure going on. And that's when you need to be resourceful and say, maybe I need a manager, maybe I need an accountability partner, maybe I need someone who will hold me to some of this stuff. And so that's a major part of it. But the one thing I always tell people, I'm an executor. I'm the type of person that I'm not going to sit and think very long about anything. I'm going to pray about it. I'm going to seek God and see if it's God's will for my life. And then I'm going. I'm not going to question. I'm not going to worry. But one thing that has really blessed me and helped me is a very, very simple idea that we hear our entire lives growing up in the church specifically, and that is write the vision and make it plain. If I have an idea
Yes.
or a concept or something that I need to do, I write everything down. And this has made me sort of into the executor that people know me to be, because when I know I have to get something done, if I have an idea, I write it down and I sort of can kind of see it grow in my writing as I seek God and pray about it. I can see it sort of growing and it makes it actionable for me. Sometimes these ideas and these dreams are too big in our head, right? So when we scale back and start to write those things down step by step, piece by piece, we make them action items, things that we can actually do day to day. And so that's been extremely helpful for me, just to be able to make these things doable in my everyday life, because I still have a 9 to 5 and I still,
Right.
yeah, I still have so many other things that I'm involved in. So you have to find a way to organize your life and make sure that you can stay on top of everything. And the one thing I can tell people is make sure you're writing things down. Make sure you are being accountable for those things that you write down, whether you're holding yourself accountable or you have to establish some accountability elsewhere.
I love this conversation because we have people who are watching right now, professionals and entrepreneurs who are saying, I'm just not motivated. 2020 was hard for us. Crossing over to 2021, crossing over into this
Mhm.
year, a lot of us have really struggled to get motivated. Some people haven't even done their vision boards yet. So I
Yeah.
want to ask you, because whenever I see you on camera and off camera, you're always positive, you're always upbeat. And so, how do you show your life when things are crazy? Like life has been crazy for us. And
Yeah.
I know for me, I had great moments in 2020 and I had
Yeah.
some not so great moments where I was not as productive as I should have been. So talk to us a little bit about how you show up when you just don't have it, when you're over it. How do you do it?
I think you have to, that's a great question. I think you have to, have a purpose bigger than yourself. One thing about adulthood is that you don't always get to do what you want to do. It's not always about comfortability. It's not always about your comfort zone when you become an adult. Sometimes I see adults in moments of what I call uh, temper tantrums. Like kind of what you see toddlers doing when a kid or a toddler, when something doesn't go their way, they might fall out into the floor and kick and scream. As an adult, it's like, why? You know, the beautiful thing about most of our lives, and I would venture to bet 99% of the people watching this, is that if there's something about your life that you do not like, with time and with effort, you can change it. This is,
Oh,
for a lot,
wow.
we live in free society. We have the freedom of choice. We have intellect. We have Google. We have everything at our fingertips. And sometimes it just comes down to what are you willing to change? Not what do you want to change, right? But what are you really willing to change? And I think when I step back and look at my life and all the things that I have on my plate, I can't help but approach my life with a posture of gratitude, right? So in those moments when I'm stressed or I'm tired, I'm like, this is not going my way, or I don't like this. I recently lost my dad. There are all sorts of reasons that I've been given to sort of be in a funk about things. But if I just step back and really look at my life from a holistic standpoint, I'm incredibly blessed with life, first of all, with health, with creativity, which is something I never take for granted. And if I want to change something, 9 times out of 10, I can change it if I really want to commit to changing it. So that's what I do. I try to just always shift my focus back to the fact that I am incredibly blessed overall, and there's a purpose that I'm serving that is bigger than what makes me comfortable day to day. Because if I relied on that, I wouldn't get anything done. I want to lay in the bed undercover, you know what I mean? And just relax all day, or be on a beach or something, and I do believe that God will give me that reality at some point, but to get the work done is a blessing. To be able to do the work, is something that we have to be grateful for. So that's what I think about in those moments. That's what motivates
Absolutely.
me.
I have admired your strength. You and I both share that in common. We are like daddy's girls for real.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So, as I've been walking this journey from a distance, and then sometimes when we did talk with you, I've just seen such a strength in you. And it's been encouraging to watch
Wow.
because you haven't missed business wise. Know Your Saints has not missed a beat throughout this whole
Mhm.
season. It's been a rough season for all of us. So I'm just proud of you.
Thank you.
If you're now, really quickly, if you're watching right now, we need you to share this video on all of your social media platforms. We know some bosses, some
Yeah.
professionals, and doers who need some positivity, especially in the season that we're in. So I'm going to give
Mm.
you guys time to share the video, and I thank you for tuning in to Boss Up. Let's talk a little bit about your industry
Okay.
because we have had some entertainers on the Boss Up show who have talked about the industry and how they feel about it. So I got to find out how Kate Keith feels about it. I need
Yeah.
you to tell us, did you choose the entertainment industry or did this industry choose you?
That's another great question. I think it sort of chose me in a way. I can go all the way back to coming to Spellbound, which is an opportunity for people who are accepted in the Spellman. You get to come to campus for a weekend after you've been accepted, before you actually begin matriculating there, and you sort of get the college campus experience. So me and my dad came down for a weekend, and during that time they had a talent show, and I wasn't going to do anything, but at the very last minute I decided to sign up, and I sang India Irie's I'm Ready for Love. And
Yes.
that, I think, was like my first introduction to Atlanta as a singer. I never wanted to be known as a singer. If believe it or not, I never wanted that. I wanted to write songs, maybe do background vocals, arranging, tour maybe as a background vocalist, but I never wanted to be like an artist out in the front. And I think what ended up happening was that moment sort of snowballed into me, you know, um, being pounced upon by like all the singers that were at Spelman already when I walked off of the stage, and getting in the Glee Club and getting in the Spelman's music department. And then, as you mentioned, I came to House of Hope, and I really came there because my uncle, Gerald Gray of Gray Boy Productions out of Chicago, kept telling me, this is the church you need to be at. I keep telling my friend, E. Dewey, you're coming. And so I got there, and I ended up joining the praise team, which is how we met. And just connecting with, it was almost like every step of the way I was connecting with artists and creative people, producers, songwriters, singers, musicians. And because it's naturally something I love, that was almost like my tribe immediately. But I don't necessarily want to be the artist. So my excitement was telling somebody, oh, have you heard Pastor Jen sing? Like, that's my thing. Like, have you heard her sing? So I started to sort of develop this identity as that person. If you needed a singer for something, or if you needed a musician for something, I could point you in the right direction. And that is sort of where my platform was built. So I guess I guess it chose me. I don't think I came down here at all wanting to. I came down here to study psychology, to go to Spelman, to eventually become a psychologist, and that was the plan. But I think it did. I think it chose me. I think it just sort of pulled me on in.
So we want to welcome our viewers one more time. Welcome if you are watching for the first time. We are just excited that you joined the Boss Up family, and we want to see you again next Friday night. We're coming down to the end of this special episode where we're talking with the lady bosses, and we have none other than Kay Key with us. Kanisha McSwain is sharing Boss Up tips with us tonight. So if you've not shared the video, go on ahead and share it because we're about to get into our last few minutes. And I just want to say, Keiki, you have so much wisdom to be so young. Just listening, there's a lot of wisdom there. And so I want to ask you, who were some of the people who poured into you that helped you to become all that you have become? Who were those wise voices in your ear that
Oh
shaped you?
my, oh my goodness. We will be here all night. Okay, Pastor Jen, we will be here all night. I am definitely a collector of words. I'm a person that, has never been afraid to speak to the elders and speak to people who are, a lot of my friends are older than I am. There's something about kind of connecting with people who have already been where you are or who care enough about you to tell you that you're right or tell you that you're wrong. And I've always sort of clung to that. If I had to outline people, it would definitely be the men and women in my family first and foremost. I come from a very solid familial background. My father, who I mentioned earlier, passed away in November of 2018, but he shaped me in a lot of ways. He was a very gentle person at all times. He was a very kind person at all times, but very well respected at all times. And just his example of life is something that I glean from even now every day in particular moments. My mother, she's a very, very intelligent woman, a very well respected woman, and a person who's not afraid to say what she wants or to say what she thinks. And that has taught me in so many ways how to be. She's fun loving. She loves her family. She takes care of everybody. And so in a lot of ways, she shaped me and molded me. And I honestly could just go on and on and on. I could probably go into every genre of my life. I could speak about, House of Hope family, Pastor E. Dewey Smith, Lady Andrea, Bunky, Mom and Daddy Riley. And these are all people you guys are like, who? but Pastor Jen knows, Miss Millie, you know what I mean? There's been so many people over the course of my life that have literally molded me into the adult that I became and the person that I am. And they still are molding me. So I said that to say, I used to say, I'm inspired by everybody either to be or not to be. And I take this approach with everything. I want to meet people and see what they can teach me and see what I can teach them. And I just kind of hold on to it. And I guess that goes back to Know Your Saints.
Yeah.
It's an apparel and jewelry line in honor of our saints and soulmates. And it's almost like, let me pay tribute to that aunt or that uncle or that cousin, that poured into my life by way of this brand. And so there are just so many people. I cannot, I can't minimize it to, just a few, so many people who have poured into who I am today.
So there's a quote that I have been sharing like crazy over the past few weeks. It's probably in every video I've done. In some way,
Okay.
it makes it in. It's a quote
Okay.
by Howard. The quote by Howard Thurman that talks about the sound of your genuine.
Mm,
And I think one of those few people who you've learned to harness and you've learned to share and embrace the sound of your genuine. And I think that
mm.
it's a very beautiful thing. I'm proud to call you friend, proud to call you sis. And there
Yes.
may be somebody who's watching tonight who's saying, I need some Know Your Saints in my life. So for a few minutes, I want you to share how we can connect with you and how we can support you because we are a village. We are a
Yes.
tribe. and
Yeah.
we bless each other by patronizing each other's businesses. So, if you would just tell us how we can connect with you, how you prefer us connect with you.
Sure. So again, there are a couple of different ways we can do this. I always tell people my personal Instagram and the Instagram that is linked to the entertainment platform, the podcast, the Cosign podcast, is linked here actually below. It's at Kayki Speaks. That's KaykiSpeaks. And Know Your Saints is linked on that page, but if you want to go to it separately, it is Know Your Saints. It's KNOWYOURSAINTS, and that's on Instagram and Facebook. And then you can always go to either one of those things.com. So KaykiSpeaks.com or knowyoursaints.com if you would like to shop with me or just say hi. You know, sometimes there's just an encouraging word on Know Your Saints to uplift you or to make you smile. So we would love to have you in the KYS family.
Listen, there was one thing that you said early in our conversation I want to go back and reiterate for our viewing audience. You said that as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, you realized that you needed a manager. You needed some people to push you and some people to
Mm-hmm.
pour into you. And so I want that to be something that our viewers kind of walk away with. You shared a
Mm-hmm.
wealth of information, but I want our Boss Up family to know it's okay to ask for help. It's okay
Mm-hmm.
to make sure you have people around you who can support you and to get a team or even a
Yes.
manager if you need it. Somebody's watching right now saying, I'm not motivated. Listen, there's nothing wrong. There's no shame in getting some people around you who can push you. And I think that's what your brand is all about, pushing other people and building other people. So I think that's a dynamic. I've enjoyed our
Yeah.
time together. This is the Boss Up Show. We are the House of Hope Atlanta. Our pastor is Dr. E. Dewey Smith Jr., and we believe that life with God is better in every way, every day. Be safe, family. Have a wonderful weekend. You want to say something in closing, KK? Keiki?
Want to thank you. I just want to thank you, Pastor Jen, for having me. I've enjoyed my time here on Boss Up. Thank you guys for watching. Come say hi, and God bless you, and God bless this show.
See you next week.